Today I'm going to be reviewing and comparing these Anastasia Beverly Hills brow products to these Colourpop brow products. I have the Brow Color from Colourpop and the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade. I'm going to compare these two, and I have the pencils from two of them. I have the BROWS and the normal pencil. The Colourpop brow pencil retails for $5 US on the Colourpop website, and the Anastasia BROWS retails for I think 21 or 23 at a whole bunch of different retailers. The Colourpop one has 0.09 grams of product, and the Anastasia one has 0.085 grams of product, which could actually be the exact same amount of product. It could just be rounded up in the Colourpop one. In the Colourpop one, I have the shade Black and Brown, and in the Anastasia one, I have the shade Ebony, and in both collections, I think they're the second darkest shade. I'm going to swatch both of them on the back of my hand for you. This is the Colourpop one, and this is the Anastasia one. As you can see that the Colourpop one is clearly way more pigmented, and it's just so much creamier when you are applying it. The Anastasia one, you really have to press really hard to get color out. Whereas with the Colourpop one, it's easier to get that kind of pigmentation that you want. Both of them have kind of like a pencil on each side and then a spoolie on the other side. The spoolie of both of them is pretty good. The Anastasia spoolie is a little bit more dense, but the Colourpop one is pretty good too. I mean, it gets on to even the smallest hairs. I think the biggest difference between these two packaging wise is that the Anastasia one, if you roll it up once, it rolls it up quite a bit, and you can roll it up all the way out and see how much is left and then roll it back in so it's retractable. But the Colourpop one, when you try to roll it up, it rolls up very, very slowly and very, very little, and you can't roll it back down. Now, before I received this, like when I bought it, I found out that it wasn't retractable, and I thought that would be a major put off because I'm the type of person that, you know, pulls out way too much of their pencil and then regrets it. But with this, the way that the packaging is, it's really, really difficult to pull out too much of the pencil. It really does not let you. Now, I really liked the Colourpop one. It's a lot more pigmented and it's pretty good for the money, except if this was like an eyeliner or a lip liner, then being pigmented is definitely like a really, really good thing, except it's not. The fact that this is so pigmented is actually kind of a disadvantage when it comes to brow products, because it's so easy for you to go overboard. Wait, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. Okay, I hope that's better. As a brow product, to be so pigmented is kind of really not beginner friendly, because if you're someone that's not really good at doing your eyebrows and they don't even have great shade range, it's very easy for you to go overboard and end up with eyebrows that look really obviously drawn on and not natural if, you know, you want eyebrows that look natural. So with this the Anastasia one, natural eyebrows are really attainable. Even if you make a mistake, you can just go over it with concealer pretty easily. With this one, you have to work pretty sparingly and only put the product down when you need the product down, and then kind of take it up. I'm going to zoom you back in, and I'm going to define the start of both my brows using these pencils, and I'll show you how I like to work with them. So I take my Anastasia one. Here's the start of my brow. First, I just underline the start and start putting it up. Maybe it's just me, but I find it really, really difficult to hold on to this product. It's not creamy, but it's definitely slippery. Like on your skin when you're applying the makeup. you can see, that's the inner corner of my brow done with the Anastasia Brow Wiz in Ebony. I'm going to do the same thing on the other brow using the Colourpop pencil. One difference that you may notice is that, first of all, the color. The Anastasia one is pretty similar to my actual hair color, and it blends in pretty well, but the Colourpop one is a little bit more red. Another thing you might notice is that with the Anastasia one, I was able to put in individual hair strokes, but with the Colourpop one, I kind of just had to put a line and then use this to smudge it, and that's because it's so pigmented. If I dare to draw in hair strokes with the Colourpop one, it would make my brows look really obviously drawn on, which isn't the look I'm going for. So okay, now here's the start of my brows already done using both the pencils. And before I set my brows with brow gel, can you tell how there's an obvious color difference? How this one is a lot more brown, but this one is a lot more the color of my actual hair. Now I'm going to be comparing the gel products from both companies. Let me zoom you out while I do a little talkie. Okay, again, I'm using the same shade. So here I use the Brow Wiz in Ebony, so I'm going to be using the Dip Brow in Ebony. Here I use the brow pencil in black and brown, so I'm going to use the brow color in black and brown as well. And I'm going to swatch these for you guys right next to the pencil swatches so you can see the difference in color. Okay, so here, this is the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade in Ebony. This is the Colourpop Brow color in black and brown. And this was the Brow Wiz in Ebony, and this was the Colourpop Brow color in black and brown. So, as you can see, in between the Colourpop Brow color and the brow pencil, it got a lot more brown, and I was already kind of a little bit uncomfortable about the fact that it's so brown instead of being an ashy color, which would be right for my hair color. But the brow color just gets more and more red, but it's extremely creamy, which is nice. I've had my Anastasia Dip Brow for 14 months now, and considering it only costs $18, and it's already lasted me 14 months, and I think that I can easily have it for another 4 months because a little goes a long way. I think it's a pretty good value, and personally, this is my favorite brow product of all time. I use this all the time. I'm just going to be using this 317 wing liner brush from Zoeva, and I'll just pretend I'm using my favorite brush. I've had my Anastasia Dip Brow for a really long time, and it starts to dry out, so what I do is I just put a drop of the Ink Blot Deer line in it, and it lasts me 3 to 4 uses. It makes it more creamy, but when I did buy the product initially, it was pretty creamy, just like the Colourpop one is now. What I like to do is I pick up the product in my hand, and I just thin it out on my brush, and then I go in, and I define the tail of my brow, and the arch as well. In terms of longevity, I would say that the Anastasia products win, and the Colourpop ones, like if I smudge them, they will definitely smudge, but these are more likely to stay in place, and that too for longer. But I will say that my personal favorites are the Anastasia Dip Brow and the Colourpop pencil. And the reason for that is because if I'm in a hurry and I want my eyebrows to be defined and I want them to look good, but I don't have time to sit down and draw in every little hair stroke, I will just use this. I will define the inner corner of my brow, my arch, and my tail and I will be off. I'll just do this. It takes me literally like it takes me 5 seconds to do that. I go like that, and then I just buff it out, and it gives my eyebrow pretty good shape. Whereas if I was to start defining my brows using the Brow Wiz, I would be sitting there for a good 20 minutes drawing in every single hair because it's not that pigmented, and you do have to build up the product when you use this. So I use this for the Colourpop one for an everyday basis. If I'm going out, if I'm in a hurry, I think this is a really, really good product, especially considering it's only $5. It's not smudge proof, and it does go away throughout the day. It's not waterproof. If you mess with it, it's gonna budge. So this is kind of just like a quick fix, you know? It's just one of those things that's efficient and it's really good for its price, but it's not really a good product. If this was $18, I would never buy it again, but because it's $5 and it offers a lot of good things in those $5, I really like it. Just by the way, both the Brow Wiz and the Colourpop product came with caps for both their sides, but I lost them. I love the Dip Brow for more glam events. So if I'm ever doing like makeup for filming, I like to use this. If I'm going out to an important party, I like to film this because it makes my eyebrows look pretty nice, pretty defined. It's also quick if you use the Duraline, and it keeps them in place all day. It's waterproof. It won't smudge. If you let it set and then you touch it, it won't smudge. It complements my hair pretty well. So yeah, that's my little review in comparison to the two of them. You can decide between them and see which one you like more. But personally, I recommend this Dip Brow and this brow pencil. Thanks so much for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe.